it's ShadeX, and today I'll be talking about Final Space and why it should not have been cancelled. The news came out recently that the creator himself, Olan Rogers, that Final Space would not be renewed for a 4th season. This news came in the form of a YouTube video. This was really saddening because Final Space was one of the story-driven shows I really was hoping would be able to continue. Unfortunately, the show ended after its 3rd season with a major cliffhanger. Anyway, while I would like to review all of Final Space in depth, I won't, at least for now. Instead, the focus of this video will be to get other people interested in the show post-cancellation. I am doing this in the hopes that the show will be able to get renewed. I am unsure of a multi-season renewal, but I am at least hoping Olan Rogers will be able to get a movie finale as something to wrap up the series. I mean, Venture Bros and Metalocalypse are getting their finale movies, so I don't see why Final Space can't get that same treatment. Anyway, with the talk of cancellation out of the way, I now want to talk about Final Space. Final Space had a pilot that was so good that Conan O'Brien contacted Olan Rogers so that he could pitch the show in Los Angeles to TBS, the network his late night show was airing on at the time, and in 2018 the show finally aired, and it was great. I remember watching a bit of it on TBS, but for some reason I stopped watching the show. It wasn't until the show ended up on HBO Max in 2021 that I continued to watch it. Anyway, I want to mention something. I like Final Space more than Rick and Morty. And yeah, Final Space is not a Rick and Morty clone. It's a wildly different show. Rick and Morty is a show that is a comedy with sci-fi elements, while Final Space is the other way around. It focuses more on the sci-fi, but there is comedy in the show. While Rick and Morty may have a bit of an ongoing story, it isn't as consistent. Final Space, on the other hand, is strictly story-driven. The status quo of the show changes with each season. For example, Rick and Morty Season 2 ended with Rick in prison. It was a very highly talked about episode at the time. There was a long hiatus and people were wondering what would happen next. However, after the Season 3 premiere, it all got resolved for the most part, and the status quo was pretty much back to normal. Final Space, on the other hand, always ends with a cliffhanger during each season, and that's what I love about the show. For example, in the Season 1 finale, Earth gets stolen. The failure of losing the Earth haunts the main character Gary in the 2nd season of the show. Final Space has shocking finales in Seasons 2 and 3 as well. Each one is very intense, and that's the reason why I love the show. That's not to say that Rick and Morty can't deliver a great finale, because the show certainly can. The Season 5 finale was really enjoyable and has gotten me interested in the show again. It answered so many questions like Rick's past and Evil Morty's plan. Still, compared to the Final Space Season 3 finale, I wasn't as shocked by it. The Final Space Season 3 finale was just so emotional and heart-wrenching. I won't spoil anything, but let's just say it is not the way I want the show to end. Anyway, I probably should give a short synopsis of the show. The show is about Gary Goodspeed, who was imprisoned on a prison ship called the Galaxy 1 for 5 years after faking being a space cadet and accidentally damaging some ships. While on the ship, he meets an alien named Mooncake, who a dictator called the Lord Commander is tracking down in order to reach Final Space. Yeah, that's the title of the show. On the ship is an AI named Hugh, who is voiced by Tom Kenny, who is in charge of looking after Gary during his prison sentence. There's also Avocado, an alien cat bounty hunter, who at first is an antagonist, but later becomes a friend of Gary's. Also, there's Kevin, but honestly, who cares about that character? Overall, I highly recommend that people watch this entire show. It is fantastic. And I really hope that in wake of this cancellation, it can get revived someday. I was hoping the show would continue as the executive middling seemed to have stopped. With Season 2, execs argued in favor of more comedic stories. While I enjoyed the 2nd season, I can see why Olan Rogers objected to that as it conflicted with his vision. He wanted a story-driven show, while the network wanted a more episodic show with story elements. However, with Season 3, Olan Rogers went all out and told the story he wanted to tell. I was really hoping Turner would continue the show. They even put Seasons 1 and 2 on HBO Max prior to the premiere of the 3rd season. Season 3 of Final Space was great. It was one of those shows that I just had to watch as it came out. After the finale, I was anticipating a 4th season, but unfortunately, the news of its end came out recently. Honestly, I do not think the show will end like this forever. It will get revived somewhere later down the road. The fact that the show trended on Twitter in wake of its cancellation proves this. I hope a Final Space movie happens. The show shouldn't end like this. The creator, Olan Rogers, has the ending still in his mind, and it deserves to be on the screen. I'm glad his show managed to become a reality, even if it did just last 3 seasons. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Go watch Final Space on HBO Max in the United States, and Netflix everywhere else. This has been ShadeX, and I hope you all feel nothing but good vibes.